The Toronto Raptors are preparing to trade Bruce Brown in the offseason, and among the interested teams are the Los Angeles Lakers. So, what might the Raptors get for Bruce Brown, and where should they trade him? Let's get into it. Now, it seems rather obvious that the Raptors have a desire to trade Bruce Brown in the offseason, but with a $23 million team option for his contract that the Raptors are likely to pick up so they do not lose him to free agency, trading the player might be easier said than done. But even still, there should be a number of teams interested in his services, and in this video we're going to go through 5 of those teams and go through specifically what they might offer up to the Raptors to make that deal happen, starting with the Los Angeles Lakers. And this one is the leadoff because it could be the most exciting one, but perhaps as well, it could be a touch unrealistic. It will depend on the ultimate desire and ambitions of the Lakers going into the upcoming season. It will depend on if LeBron James does stay with the team. Perhaps the Lakers are going to draft Bronny James to try and facilitate a contract that keeps LeBron in town. But regardless, the Lakers could have interest in bolstering this team for one final push for a championship with LeBron James in town, and adding in Bruce Brown might be the player to do that. Here's a player that's going to bring you switchability, who can score, who can handle the ball a little bit, and in exchange, the Lakers, look, they don't have the biggest amount of cap space. They have some tradable contracts, so it will depend on how willing they are to make a trade here. And if they are willing to make a trade here, perhaps the player that makes this deal happen is Rui Hachimura. Rui Hachimura on about $17 million a season for the next couple of seasons here. And though I feel as though he's a touch overpaid, maybe having Hachimura on the slightly overpaid contract for 2 years is better than having Bruce Brown for like half a season, wondering what you're going to get for the player. You can actually lock in a talented player, Hachimura here, who actually is a decent fit for the Raptors here. Good defensive switchability, good corner three-point shooter. Like, he certainly has some other traits associated, but hey, he can knock down shots, he can score a little bit, he can play defense, and with a core already in place for the Raptors, that seems like a pretty good fit to have around them. Now, they will have to add on some other things on top of this. This is, I think, the only trade I'm going to talk about in this video that doesn't contain any picks, because on top of getting Rui Hachimura, the Raptors can also get a decent young guard in Jalen Hood-Schifino, who didn't have a phenomenal year with the Lakers, but I was a fan of him pre-draft, pre-2023 draft. Ended up going a little bit behind where the Raptors were selected 13th overall, which I was happy about. Wanted Grady Dick at the time. But Hood-Schifino is a decent player I wouldn't mind seeing work with the Raptors in their development team. And Jackson Hayes brings in a nice level of depth. I mean, the Raptors need a third center. They don't need to break the bank to get it. They just need a little bit of additional size. I'm not a big fan of Jackson Hayes, but if he's third in the Raptors depth chart for center, that's not a bad addition to have for the trade, no doubt. And overall, I think that for a player in Bruce Brown that fans kind of want to get rid of, who maybe there's not really a good spot for him on a one-year contract, this is a really good return. It's just maybe too good, and the Lakers won't want to give it up. So it will depend, again, on how willing they are to invest in Bruce Brown to bring him in to put next to LeBron James. I think Bruce Brown is a great fit for the Lakers if they want to make this trade happen. But before we go into any other teams, I want to remind you guys, this is Amateur Hour Sports, the YouTube channel completely dedicated to Toronto Raptors content and videos like this, as well as live streams covering the latest news around the NBA, but mostly with the Raptors. So be sure to drop a like if you enjoy this one along the way, and also make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Keep up to date with all this great content, especially as the news ramps up in the offseason. But the second team we have on this list, I will concede, this isn't one of the more exciting options here, but for fans saying that the Raptors screwed it up with Bruce Brown, they're not going to be able to get the value they want of him, they're not going to be able to get a first-round pick for the player, I categorically disagree. I have a significant disagreement with that. They're going to be able to get a first-round pick. It won't be, a high-tier first-round pick, but a team like the Philadelphia 76ers, who have so much cap space opening up in the offseason, Bruce Brown is a pretty good fit here, and I don't see any reason why the Sixers would have a problem dishing out a first-round pick in order to make this happen. One that they could dish out in order to make it happen, as you can see here, is that first-round pick for 2026, which is via OKC, Houston, or the Clippers. Look, that's not going to be a great pick. Potentially, the Sixers could add on the second-round pick on top of that, but the Raptors were pretty hell-bent on not trading Bruce Brown for a 2024 pick. They'd be happy to get a pick for a future draft. The reason Bruce Brown is still a Raptors player is because teams are offering 2024 picks. The Raptors did not want 2024 picks. So, hey, maybe they try their hand at a 2026 pick and a second-round pick. Maybe the Sixers leave that cap space open in order to make this deal happen. There's not really good tradable contracts in this situation here because the Sixers, they really don't have a lot of players on contract. So with all that cap space open, the Sixers could be a team that makes a play for Bruce Brown. Also, another team that could make a play for Bruce Brown because they have a ton of cap space available and feel like this is a pretty good fit, especially for an up-and-coming team who just wants to add in more depth and versatility, more defense as well. That team could be the Orlando Magic. In similar vein to the 76ers, they could offer up a trade that involves a first-round pick, this one being for 2025, and I'll be a little bit greedy here. I'll add in a second-round pick. I'm not sure in this situation if you could get that second-round pick, but I'll be greedy with my mock trade here and say, look, it's based around the first-round pick. Maybe you can get a second-round pick, but I think, hey, considering the return for Siakam that's already turned out to be pretty decent overall. You got a first-round pick via Indiana. You got a first-round pick for 2024 that turned into Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. And you're also getting Bruce Brown, who you can turn into a first-round pick. That's not bad in the grand scheme of things here. And here's a situation where you could get one off Orlando. But if that's not really enough for you there, you think, yeah, it's a little bit boring to just go through picks here. Orlando also has the possibility of adding in a player here. The Raptors could be enticed by an offer if Orlando want to give away Jonathan Isaac in the final year of his contract. Look, I really like Jonathan Isaac. I think a lot of people do. The question mark is ultimately going to be about his health. Is Jonathan Isaac going to be healthy enough to actually play these games? I don't really think it matters here because you can potentially still get a first-round pick in the process. Again, that might be a little bit greedy here, but for a trade package centered around Jonathan Isaac, he's a great fit. He plays defense. He can shoot the three ball. He's very lengthy, very tall, very switchable. This would be a nice fit for the Raptors. And Orlando, what they get is a player they have a greater degree of certainty is going to be available for a big chunk of games. The Raptors can afford maybe to take a risk here with Isaac just to see what happens, but get that added insurance of getting a pick in the process, whether it be a first or a second round pick. Now we get into some of the more exciting options here. And stick around to the last one we have here on the list. We have two more teams to go through. And the last one could be a little bit surprising you want to check out. This one is the least surprising team on the list. That is, of course, the New York Knicks. Bruce Brown himself, before the trade deadline, was hinting at wanting to play for the Knicks, being a good fit with Tom Thibodeau as head coach. I agree. Look, it wasn't disrespectful of Bruce Brown to say that. He knew the situation. He knew that the Raptors wasn't really the best spot for him. The Raptors were publicly trying to trade him. There was no harm in Bruce Brown suggesting that, hey, I think I'd be a great fit for New York. He's right. He would be a great fit for New York. He would be a great fit for Tom Thibodeau. And you know who's not a great fit for Tom Thibodeau's team? Who's on a tradable contract? It's Bojan Bogdanovic. Absolutely, Bojan Bogdanovic would be the player that comes over to the Raptors in this trade. It kind of writes itself here. Bogdanovic has a one-year contract worth $19 million. Look, it's not a fantastic player to get right now. He's on the tail end of his career for sure. But hey, maybe you get his shooting at a bogey for another season. Maybe you get another bit of scoring for the rest of the way here. Maybe that's an addition the Raptors would welcome, to have that bit of veteran presence and floor spacing in the team. Not a bad option to bring into the team, but the Raptors would have to get some draft compensation as well. The New York Knicks have a litany of first-round picks they can trade. Take your pick, really. I've decided to go with the 2025 first-round pick from the New York Knicks to make this deal happen. This deal would be like the least surprising thing. I think the Raptors would be happy to have a year of bogey and a first. The Knicks would be over the moon to get Bruce Brown onto this team for next season. I very much can see this one happening. But perhaps a little bit of a wild card here is Bruce Brown ending up on the Chicago Bulls. The Chicago Bulls they never die. They never, ever let go. They want to keep this core going. They want to keep this team going. They want to continue to be competitive. So why not make a move for Bruce Brown? But what it would cost, or perhaps what it would cost the Raptors to make this trade happen, is actually one I saw on Twitter, and that could be Lonzo Ball ending up on the Toronto Raptors. Look, we're not getting Lonzo Ball the player. We're getting Lonzo Ball the contract, and the idea that he's presented after getting a meniscus donor that potentially could make an NBA comeback this season. Who knows what he's going to look like? I'm not concerned about the player at all in this. I'm concerned about the contract matching here. You take on the last year of Lonzo Ball's contract. He's got a player option, which he'd be an idiot not to take. You get a pick in the process as well here. And the Raptors look, they cashed in on some assets here. Chicago, get off the Lonzo Ball contract. We get picks down the line, and any added little sprinkle on top would be, what if Lonzo Ball does return this season? what if the Raptors are the team that gave him the opportunity and platform to play again? Maybe he comes back to him. Who knows? What I'm saying is we're getting picks in this deal. He's just salary matching. Don't worry about that aspect of it, but it could be an interesting way for the Raptors to get draft capital in exchange for Bruce Brown in the final year of his contract on that $23 million team option. So what was your favorite of these trades? My favorite of these trades was the Lakers trade. I'd love to bring in some assets like that to the team, but I think the more realistic one, and the one I would be happy to do as well, is the trade involving Bogdanović and the New York Knicks. But let me know in the comments down below which of these trades was your favorite, and perhaps one I didn't go through. Where would you trade Bruce Brown? That is all for today's video. Drop a like if you did enjoy. Subscribe to the channel for more Raptors content like this, and I will see you again next time for another video. By the way, been very busy last week. There hasn't been a lot of content. It's been crazy here. Bear with me. I'm doing my best.